the previous video, we've taken a look at the pace of eating evidence on a meal composition that actually favors towards the PUFA N3 as well as MUFA N9 fatty acid compositional bias intake within a feature of meal composition. However, what about the more questionable yet affordable type of fatty acids, bordering that towards the PUFA N6? Welcome back to Decentralized Nutritional Science in the frame, context, and lens of structural violence and economics. So this entire feature meal is actually consisting of two main sections. The first of which is obviously the main feature course meal, and then afterwards we have a liquid meal in which that is composed of simply DIY chicken stock, whether that is made from chicken necks and or any other mixed chicken pieces boiled batch on the stove method. The types of fatty acids here will be composing that of the PUFA N6 heavy side of things, most significantly to that, the mayonnaise and the rice bran oil. There are also other PUFA N6 coming to that as the chicken meats themselves, in which we are going to discuss that in further detail as we go along throughout this presentation. In terms of condiment wise, we are using a combination between the mayonnaise and the soy sauce. And yes, as always, there's going to be some controversies over this, but we're going to discuss that soon throughout this presentation. So the very first micronutrient support here will be either magnesium or zinc, depending on the meal composition, in which in this case here is going to feature some amounts of vitamin C from the squeeze of lime, and then followed by a little bit of carrots for their inactive vitamin A, or the beta version of the vitamin A, and then also followed by, obviously, we are going to supplement with vitamin E. So therefore, having considered all of this into account, zinc would be the best choice for us to consider, because zinc together with vitamin C and E are known to be highly synergistic and supportive to one another. Very first bite of food will be that as simply boiled eggs. Why eggs? Well, to recall from our previous presentation, eggs contain a vast amount of acetylcholine, in which this signaling molecule is actually one of the few major neurotransmitters and hormones that is supremely important when it comes to secreting enough hydrochloric acid. And once again, gastric acid and or HCl acid are both interchangeably important and essential for the next subsequent digestion for the next hour and the next and the next, until the end of the day is reached, or until the end of the feeding window is reached. Yes, the next thing that this author would like to discuss upon, no matter how, despite how much infinite bickering there is unnecessarily, that would be simply glutamate. There is dietary source of glutamate coming from either cheese, tomato paste, and or soy sauces. Now, if we can just move aside and see through all the infinite bickerings, it may be wise to actually consider reading the research articles and also experience for one's own self, as well as the fact that it may also contribute and assist with the digestion system itself. So somewhere around about a quarter of the way through the feature meal, it might be a good idea to take the next feature lipid-soluble supplementation, and that would be vitamin E, in which in this case, just the ordinary standard alpha-tocopherol form of vitamin E. And from there on, we may begin consuming and enjoying the rest of the meal composition. So let's now talk about the chicken dark meat and its fatty acid compositional makeup in the fattier cuts of meat. Chicken is, interesting enough, has a wide variety of mixes in terms of the total fat content, saturated versus the MUFA as well as the PUFA. However, compared with the rest, lamb seems to be garnering the most total fat compared with the rest of the meats that we can see here in this official diagram, which is made available, freely available to the public. And also, it is interesting to know that this document also proclaims that there is a little bit more micronutrient diversities in here is that there seems to be a greater amount of retinol equivalence. That is a vitamin A derivative, and that there seems to be more vitamin E or the alpha tocopherol component. However, much of this also depends on the type of feed that is, or the type of food that is being fed. So hence, for anyone who wishes to know more and to read more on the nutrient composition of the chicken meat, the original link to the actual publicized document is available in the description. Keeping in mind once again that all this data is actually based on the official Australian industries, in which this, of course, may or may not reflect to that from other countries. So just another disclaimer to keep in mind. So at the end of this feature meal, we are going to take vitamin D and magnesium. Vitamin D has been interestingly shown to also possess not only antioxidative support, but also lipid peroxidation protective qualities to it as well, as given by various scientific literatures. One of the following options in which depending on the season, this may be an important accessory follow-up meals to encourage further nutrient partitioning and digestive support. Also to ensure a diverse micronutrient intake, either 2 times Brazil nuts with several bites of nori seaweed to ensure the thyroid health is in check, or just simply a serving of a chicken stock made from chicken necks, drumsticks, Maryland, legs with plenty of apple cider vinegar, lemon, and pepper. In this case here, we're just going to use a DIY chicken stocks as shown here in this second and last part of this presentation to encourage digestion and overall comfort. The DIY chicken stock further reconstituted with a little bit of extra water because otherwise it will be a little bit too salty. But we are gonna be using another little bit of splash of apple cider vinegar and as well as an extra lemon and or lime to help the utilization and the uptake of the glycine amino acid beneath the chicken stocks. It may not be much, however, but better than nothing. So of course, there's always going to be other example meals that this author have done in the past that actually features much heavier PUFA N6 meal, in which this example here showcases the usage of DIY sauerkraut, and also on top of that, some beneficial amount of seafood that is coming from the prawns and its shells, between the zinc to copper ratios, as well as the magnesium and the much needed calcium, and not forgetting as always some amounts of gelatin as well. Unfortunately, due to the fact that this entire presentation is already encumbering and already overwhelming as it is, this yet another example has to be sped up by 800%, and also some bits have to be cut off. There is, once again, a wealth array of research when it comes to the benefits, elusive benefits, not only in terms of gut lining, but overall immune system health, connective tissues, muscle protein synthesis, all coming from going back to the roots of things that we've taken for granted, or that things that we have previously expressed our disdain, contempt, or disgust when it comes to various food, e.g. in this case, the humble sauerkraut, and also gelatinous whole food sources of collagen and or gelatin amino acids, That includes shellfish, prawns with the shell as well as the heads, chicken necks, to name a few. What's shown here is just a series of studies, just a few, just to showcase to readers that there is a wealth and abundant array of benefits to be considered, not just in terms of lipid peroxidation protection, but also we have to look at on a structural level as well, so in which that includes the gut ecosystems, the gut function, the physiology, and so on and so forth. Just as a reminder once again, for any scientific citations, research, and or publications that is being shared throughout this concept initiative remains simply just for contemplative interpretations rather than dogmatic or prescriptive dictation. Because after all, the word science should never be about confirmative finality. Rather, it should be an open-ended dialogues between bridging together and synthesizing together the known as well as the unknown knowledge frontier. Nothing more, nothing less. So that concludes yet another Pace of Eating video showcase, featuring this time a PUFA N6 heavy intakes as an example. And please, by no means that PUFA N6 fatty acids are all the absolute evils. However, they do nevertheless carry their own cautions, in which, to put into summary once again, proper supplementation to in the interest for us to offset the excessive risk towards lipid peroxidation damages that may occur in large quantities of consumption over time. So once again, this will be open for individual adjustments and variability that is yet further scrutinized for further research. So if this video actually helps anyone in any manner, shape or form, please by all means contribute your thoughts and or comments down in the comment section below. What are your experiences when it comes to handling and or consuming large amount of PUFA N6 dominant type of meals? Do you actually experience any unusual concerns and or side effects before, during or after the meals? Let us know down in the comment section below. And never forget, as always, keep living it forward. Thank you for watching.